Hey, I almost said it the wrong way, fans. If It's a whole new season and we have a whole new show name, and it is Football Beer, and that's why today we are here is to talk some football, talk some beer, and new date and time. And thank you. We have one loyal listener that our viewer that's already tuned in is probably in your household. So so once again welcome to the 2022 NFL season, Dave. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Excited for a new season. Happy to be back.
Yeah, so am I. And so we've got a new date and time we're trying out Sundays at 9 a.m. So, sure, there's a lot of other great show, like NFL on Fox or the NFL Network, but really they don't have us as the talent. So this will be you should be your quick check-in in the mornings before game day and before the 10 o'clock games get started around the nation. So, hey, today, so we're going to try to keep it tight for you, around 30 minutes. But today, we just want to kind of dust off the cobwebs and talk a little bit football. But first, before we do that, we need to talk a little bit of brewski. So Dave, what is your brew on tap for today? If today were a game day, what would you be enjoying?
Today I have a Baaaacckk, and this one is called Sweet. So it's a 5%. It is a tangerine wheat ale. I figured, the first morning show, I'd have a little juice, right? A little tangerine juice. Because we were just talking, it's always 9 o'clock somewhere, right? So. Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. It's got a good tangerine juice flavor to it. Sometimes some of these, I like orange flavored things, so I often get a lot of like blood orange half and stuff like that. And sometimes you can't really get that orange. Doesn't really come through that very, very well. But that tangerine comes through good. So well done, Baaaacckk from Anaheim, California, on your Sweet.
Oh, that's a cool name. That just rolls off the tongue. And so mine today is another Arizona brewery out of Flagstaff, and the brewery is Mother Road Brewing, and my selection is Limited Visibility, a hazy Indian pale ale. I almost said IPA, and that is. Oh, is that what that stands for? I just learned something. You know what? I've always enjoyed it. Never cared what the acronym was. So, anyway, self-discovery. It's awesome. But this actually, since you were saying, you got your citrus or your fruit in there, this actually does have flavors of citrus, tropical, and stone fruits. It is a 7.2, comes in the 1 pint can, and I've actually never. I think I've had stuff from Mother Road Brewing before, but never this one. And that's, you know what? I'm just drinking orange juice for the day. It's just, it's like the same, but it has that unfiltered straw wheat color in there, and good stuff. And what a way to kick off the show for 2022, right?
Cheers,
buddy. Welcome back to our fans. You can all, before we get into the show, you can still watch us obviously on Facebook. You can join us live on YouTube, and now this year you can also watch the live show on Twitter at NFL_beer. We've kind of stripped down. I don't have the graphics going yet. We got to come up with a little graphic for the corner up here and some other things. And good morning, Cindy. Welcome to the show, and you and Jim. And thanks for tuning in. But you can watch us on Twitter. The comments don't come up on Twitter, and I have to watch the Twitter feed that they just haven't added that feature yet. But still kind of early adopters there since they've switched over from Periscope. Anyway, on with the show. We came to talk about some football. We talked about the beer. So this week, our focus is going to be new faces in new places around the NFL. A lot of trades and signings and still some things happening. Just a couple of days ago, we had Julio Jones joining Tom Brady at the Bucks, and so we're just going to go through today to kind of look at some of the new players that are in some new places and talk about what kind of impact will they have on their team. And I thought, Dave, we'd start with some quarterbacks, and I'm just going to kind of go. I'm going to go down the list, and I'm going to move this one up here. So, we have Carson Wentz. Guys everywhere, man. Going to the Commanders. God, what do you think about this?
He needed a new start, it looked like, even though he's kind of bounced around in his career for sure, his young career. Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, came out and basically said, we made a mistake giving up everything that we did for him. And, obviously if you see it, what the Colts did and Carson Wentz did, he obviously didn't give the Colts as much as the Colts gave to him. So I could see how an owner could say that. It will be really interesting to see how he does with this group. He's got, okay running back, a couple of them. McKissick can catch out of the backfield. Gibson's a good running back. So that will help take some pressure off him. He's not going to have to throw all the time, which it's going to be hard for him to do. It's not like he has, major wide receivers there either. McLaurin's very good, but, he's just one guy. He doesn't have a ton of weapons. Curtis Samuel's a sneaky comeback player for me, coming back receiver. Played really well when he was on the Panthers. It got kind of banged up since he's been at Washington, but he showed a little bit here and there. So I think he might be a guy that comes back if he's fully healthy and helps. But the guy came out and had a lot of expectations on him, and he's played some good football, enough to warrant him, I guess, to be a starter for multiple teams now. But I don't think he's met all of the potential or all the goals everyone's set for him. That's for sure. And injuries have hurt him. But I just see it's going to be hard for him there too. Washington. They have so much stuff going on internally and with the owner, and they just haven't been very good. They haven't been terrible, but they haven't been very good in years past. So it'll be interesting to watch, but I don't see him having a ton of success right off the bat this year there either.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think, it's right now the Commanders are kind of a dead end in the league, and until they can kind of come around and get their organization in order. And once they do that, I think there might be some more focus on winning and the team and just the optics of it. But you know what? They got some loyal fans there. They're gonna show up and they're gonna watch the game. And Carson Wentz can sling it. So hopefully he can revive his career there. And then he'll get traded somewhere else. But so a couple of teams that ended up kind of trading and some money. The Seahawks and the Broncos. So we have Russell Wilson going to the Broncos, Drew Lock to the Seahawks. I would think that the Broncos got the better end of the deal here. Of course, there was monies and other players and stuff. So, but what do you think about Russell in Denver?
It's such a big change. It's so, it's like when Brady goes to Tampa Bay or something. You have these Hall of Fame quarterbacks that have been somewhere forever, and then they leave, and you don't. In the case of Brady, it worked out, but you never really know. He's playing at a real high altitude now. How is he going to get used to that real quick? Of course, you have the new personnel. He has two really good young receivers in Sutton and Judy. He's got pretty decent backfield to work with. The offensive line's a little shaky. I think it's better than what he had in Seattle maybe the last couple years. They're in Denver now on the offensive line, so that should help. And I already saw, some training camp videos, his famous, pop star R&B singing wife, Ciara, was already at training camp signing autographs with their kids running around the practice field. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. Is it bring your wife to work day for everybody or just Russell? Um, and so it was kind of funny. And reports have come out lately that he's kind of also a diva and a little bit demanding as an individual and things like that. But hey, why wouldn't you be? You're the face of the franchise. He was for the whole time he was in Seattle, and yeah, it'll be interesting, especially since his first regular season game is going back to Seattle. That's
Oh,
quite a
that'll
way
be
to
fun.
start your season, and we'll get into that more probably in the weeks to come when we get closer to making our picks. That we will, but
It's,
my wife Whitney downstairs is a big Seahawk fan, and she's watching the show, and she still loves Russell, even though he went to the Broncos. She's still got a big love in her heart for Russell. I'm pretty sure she has one or two of his jerseys still in our closet. So yeah, it'll be really fun and interesting. It's always fun to see these kind of legends go to a different team at the end of their career and see what they're able to do somewhere else.
yeah, little message there from Whitney. And, speaking of jerseys, she's got a couple. I don't know if you saw the picture of Russell Wilson showing up to training camp in his monster truck and wearing his own jersey. Gets out of his truck wearing his own jersey going into training camp. So, I maybe maybe he feels unchained. He left Seattle and is like, man, I can just kind of be the guy I want to be now. And, new environment, start over, not having, I mean, he's got a lot of pressure. Don't get me wrong, but the last few years have been a real struggle in Seattle. I mean, the last 2 years they've been talking about, or he's been talking about whether he wants to stay or go and everything, and he's hung out, stuck it out. But maybe he just he feels some freedom there that he can just be maybe more of himself, and maybe that's what we're seeing a little bit now. So what about on the other side? So Drew Lock, Seattle's going to end up with him probably as their starter.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Seahawks are in a total rebuild mode. Obviously, I mean, a lot of their best players over the last handful of years have left. Um, their best player they have right now, they're having contract issues with, where DK Metcalf is waiting for that contract, and he's at training camp, but he's just sitting on the sidelines until that gets done. So they'll need to get that done because Locke will need that weapon to have any success there. I kind of feel bad for the guy. They're known for not having a very good offensive line. Their backfield's all banged up. Um, you know, Carson, their running back, had to basically retire because of a neck injury. He couldn't pass a physical and got released. Rashard Penny did rush really well, though, at the end of last year. He
Yep.
was one of the best running backs at the end of the regular season last year, and they drafted Walker, high pick in the draft for them, second round for a running back. So we'll see, how that rookie does backing up Penny, and Lockett will be back. He's a good veteran to have, so that's good for Lock. I'm pretty sure Lockett's probably the longest tenured Seahawk there now. Now that Bobby Wagner left and Russell left, and Lockett may be the longest tenured Seahawk. So we'll see. And I can't imagine. Pete's 137, but
Yeah,
still acts like
about.
he's 30. But I mean, he can't be coaching for a whole lot longer. And if they're not playing very well, and they're having issues with players wanting to be signed, and I don't see Pete wanting to stay along a whole lot longer for all of that. So we might see Pete for another couple years, maybe, or something. But big changes in Seattle coming all over the place this year, the next probably couple years. So hang
Yeah,
on, Seahawks fans,
you're
because
right.
all the rest of the NFC West is balling out every year. So good luck.
Yeah. With Pete Carroll, with all the change, I mean, you're losing your marquee quarterback. I think this year was the year he should have just kind of stepped away. You got some young talent coming in. You are rebuilding because Pete, unless you're going to be there for another 5 years, I mean, if you're not committed to the organization for another 5 years to see this growth and turn the team into a championship team, you got to let somebody else come in and develop that talent. And because you're right. And if I think if they're struggling this year, Pete Carroll's the kind of guy that you're probably not going to let him go mid-season. I mean, unless they're literally 0-8 or something, almost midway through the season. But the guy has a lot of, he's done a lot for that organization, and so I don't. He's one coach. We always do the hot seat every week. Who's on the hot seat? Even starting with week one, and I can't see. I may put him on the hot seat if they're sucking, but it'll be more for maybe the style of coaching with the talent they've got, and in-game coaching decisions might put him on the hot seat. But I don't see them getting rid of him mid-year. But who knows? I mean, it's really a what have you done for me lately league right now, as we're seeing with all these moves and players who you wouldn't think would leave their team, especially when they're doing well, and as we'll talk about in a little bit. But we got a few more quarterbacks to try to run through. One of them, Matt Ryan, is trying to keep his career going. I totally thought this guy would say, hey, you know what? I've had a pretty good career. I've got a great family. I'm gonna go chill with them and on a beach somewhere. But he's going to the Colts, where Carson Wentz couldn't do anything with them. I mean, they're getting a much better quarterback than they had before. But are they going to have enough of a team around them to make it, to help him out?
Yeah, and it looks like they will. Since they have Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, who led the NFL in rushing last year, so that will be very helpful for an older Matty Ice that doesn't move out of the pocket really. So, and they're in the right division. I mean, the Jaguars aren't going to be good again this year. The Texans don't look like they're going to be very good this year. So they might have the Titans could be okay, but they lost A.J. Brown, and now all you have to do is stack the box against Derrick Henry and make Tannehill beat you. And we know if you're a fan from any of our shows how Chuck feels about Ryan Tannehill being a starting quarterback in the league. So I think really that was probably a pretty tasty idea for him, that 6 of your games are going to be against not that great of teams.
Okay.
In your division, and you have the best running back, you have good offensive line. They haven't re-signed T.Y. Hilton yet, don't know where that's at, but they do have some decent wide receivers there, younger receivers. So we'll see what he can do, but I think he's set up in a pretty good situation to at least probably make the playoffs and have his team win the division, because their defense is good too. Probably win that division for the next 2 or 3 years until he retires. So it could be a successful way to go out where you might not be making the Super Bowl, but I could see him making playoffs and winning that division to get into more playoff games and adding that to his maybe Hall of Fame resume. I mean, his numbers are going to be way up there on the all-time lists. He won't be, Brady or Manning but he's not too far behind. I think it would surprise a lot of people when you see his overall career numbers where he's listed.
Because he's had to sling the ball a lot. And, a lot. And the guy, he's got an amazing arm, and his accuracy is great. So hopefully he won't have to throw it as much in Indianapolis. And, and we can see a different side to his game, and that way it makes his passing then more effective. If you have a good run game, it's going to make the passing game a lot more effective, and that'll also keep him healthier. But all right, we got 2 left. So the man who's taking over his place, Marcus Mariota, is going to the Falcons. He gets 18 mil over the next couple of years. Some of these, I was doing some research. So some of these I actually pulled in the numbers, only on a few. So, so the Raiders decide to give up, let Marcus go as there's a backup, which is the smartest thing they could do, because he was making good money to ride the pine. in Las Vegas. I mean, I'm sure Las Vegas. I don't know. I'd probably rather live in Las Vegas than Atlanta, but nothing against Atlanta. Just been to Vegas a lot, and it's a cool, fun place. You got a brand new stadium there and everything, and so. Again, nothing against Atlanta at all, but no. So I'm so happy for this. You can't imagine that how much I do not like Derek Carr, even though Mariota is gone. I still do not like Derek Carr, and I was just hoping that Derek Carr would have had like a hangnail or something that would keep him from playing last year, and we could get Marcus back under center. So now it's make or break. He's had a couple of years to recoup from all the injuries because he's I mean, the one downfall with Marcus is he's kind of injury prone, but he puts himself in harm's way a lot because he runs, and they still did that with him with the Raiders. He was successful with his runs and even his passes on the plays they put him in for last season. Just enjoy watching this guy, and I think it's going to bring another element to the Falcons, and there's a different dynamic there. I'm excited to see him play again. I'll actually watch some Falcon games and just to see him play. I mean, yeah, good on him getting another chance.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, being an Oregon Duck and being a Mariota fan, I'm, just excited to see he gets to get back on the field. He's got some good young receivers. They drafted a receiver really high in the draft this year. He has probably the best young tight end, Kyle Pitts, in the league right now to, check down to or hit down the seam, and that will help him out. So, same thing. I'm really excited to see him play. And, I mean, unfortunately, making that money when you're in Vegas, that's too bad he has to leave because you could have as much Gordon Ramsay risotto as you probably can handle
right?
When you're making that money in Las Vegas. So he could probably get some without buying the whole course meal like that.
Exactly. That he could, no. They wouldn't give me just a cup of risotto without, the entire table buying the course meal. I'm sure he could. Yeah, perks to the job for him, I guess. I wish I was a quarterback in the NFL so I could get some risotto. But hey, I would challenge Gordon Ramsay to a risotto competition in a heartbeat, and I kick his ass. So hashtag Gordon Ramsay, Chuck kicks your ass at risotto. Yeah. And so I've said that for years, and I'd probably get my ass kicked, but he'd come up with something. He if I'm talking shit like this, he'd say, "Oh no, I'm bringing out all the stops to put this guy down." And yeah, it would be fun. So good on him. Okay, so last quarterback. We always say we're going to go tight 30. We're going to go long, folks. But so get your your next cup of coffee and enjoy the show. So the last one is really kind of this is a situation that nobody knows what's going to happen, and that is Deshaun Watson going from the Texans to the Browns. Who knows if he's even going to play this year? I honestly, for me, the league should have already decided on this, should already have ruled on this, and the longer you wait, it's not fair to the team, and this you just got to know the Browns. I don't know what, honestly, they gave him a butt ton of money. They're banking the future on a guy that may not even be able to play till the 2023 season, and I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. I wouldn't pay that kind of money to have somebody not play when there's enough quarterbacks out. I think there's quarterbacks out there that I don't know. I guess they were just felt like the relationship with Baker Mayfield was over, and they were just blinded by what's the best out there. And maybe they could have made a play. I mean, who knows if he actually would have went there, but Russell Wilson or even a Matt Ryan for a couple of years, I don't know. Cause they have a good team, and around. And did I think Baker Mayfield was the worst quarterback? No. Was he the best? No. I think he had to do too much, and for that team, and that's where they felt that Baker let him down, is he just didn't do enough. And those kind of quarterbacks, like a Russell Wilson, that just can run around and all of a sudden from the back of his head find a receiver open and throw it backwards through his legs and moon drop it in. Um, and but anyway, your thoughts on this?
He's a quarterback that had some good years in Houston where he had to throw the ball a lot because they're always behind. So you're putting that much money on, I guess, a skill set because he's not a winner. He didn't win there. And it's just kind of, to me, it's a bad look. Hopefully he is innocent if he's innocent, but, if he's not, on all the charges and things coming up of misconduct with these masseuses that have, sued him, just a bad look. Bad luck giving almost $300 million to a guy that's, got this much, outside of football happening. I wouldn't want him to be the face of my franchise right now. I don't think you're going to sell a lot of Deshaun Watson jerseys. They're not going to be
right.
Super popular supporting that guy right now. Like I said, whether he's innocent or not, whatever, it's just not a good look. If I was a owner of a club, wouldn't be who I wanted to have as the face of my franchise and pay more money. This guy's getting more money than anyone in NFL history. Pretty sure the greatest quarterback of all time is still on the Bucs, which he's smart because he's the GOAT, because he takes less money so that they can build the team.
Yeah.
And he wins more Super Bowls than anybody. The Browns don't have any really talent except for Nick Chubb on the team. He has nobody to throw to, really. Good luck. Good luck, Cleveland. I hope you're real happy with this. I wouldn't be.
I think you hit something, in your comment a minute ago about the jerseys and stuff. How many, he goes out and he gets his massages. That's on that piece on him. Again, if he's innocent, guilty, but how many, it's not just men that buy jerseys. A lot of women are wearing jerseys and stuff. And, what kind of real message may that send to people? You're supporting, I don't know. And
wear that next to your wife on the couch.
Right.
I'm not.
Hey, honey, what you want to? Never mind.
There's Nick Chubb jerseys. There's other players on the team. You could wear a throwback jersey of an older, wear a Jim Brown jersey if you're a Browns fan. I wouldn't invest in a Deshaun Watson jersey.
Yeah, you're right, Robert. They've settled out of court, and while that's not an admission of guilt, but people, you don't settle out of court. If you can prove that you are absolutely 100% innocent.
Vince McMahon just retired from being the head of WWE wrestling. Really, coincidentally, just paid a woman over $3 million in a settle out of court. If I was innocent, do you think I'd pay anyone $3 million for anything, even if I had $1 billion? No. Do you know that guy? That guy is like one of the most competitive, aggressive people on the planet when it comes to business. I think he's just going to write over a $3 million check to not make something go away. And then, all of a sudden, I'm going to just retire because, no. Come on, man.
Yeah.
It's the smart old way out of that crap, I guess. But it's just it's almost admitting guilt. It's just you wrote a check and then you retired a month later when you have as much energy now as you look like you've ever had. Just happened to be the time. So I'm thinking he thinks that's going to just stop it now. And because maybe there's more. Maybe there's more we don't know. Maybe there's more checks he'd have to write. So if he takes his face away from the product, the business, maybe that will just stop it now and it won't keep going or whatever. But I don't know, it's just shady. I wouldn't write anybody a check for $3 if I didn't do anything. Why would you do that?
So let's close out the QBs just with this. I have this question to you. Who do you think is going to have the biggest impact this year with their new team? It's probably not going to be Watson. They're kind of going across the screen there. Mariota, Wentz, Ryan, Watson, Wilson, or Locke. Who do you think is going to have the biggest impact on their team this year?
That's going to be really. I mean, Wilson is maybe the best quarterback out of these. Ryan's a little bit behind. But it's going to be still hard for Russell because the Chargers are better, the Raiders are better, the Chiefs are still pretty good. Like, he's in a hard division. But yeah, Robert's probably right. He said Watson in a negative way, and that's probably it because he paid this guy all this money, and maybe he plays half the season, maybe he doesn't play any of the season, and I bet you're still paying him for a whole year not playing. So yeah, I'd say Robert's probably right. You put all this money into this guy that might not even play for you at the most important position in football.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm just going to be a homer and go with Mariota. So I think it's Ryan. I think Ryan's going to have a big impact. I think that team will really turn around. I think Mariota's still got challenge in front of him just with the rest of the team or whatnot. But I'm probably just rooting for Mariota. I want him to go out and have a finish healthy with a good career and felt like he left a good impact and good legacy on the game of football. And he's just really a good guy. I totally spelled Wentz wrong, everyone. I apologize. That should have been a Z. And so Roberts, I'd go for Ryan for positive impact. And hey, is that a surprise right there? Wilson is Whitney says Wilson. So all right, so let's look at we've got a few let me get rid of that. A few defenders here. So Von Miller, I don't know that I get this. So you win a Super Bowl and you immediately leave and go to the Bills, who could have been right there. I was actually pulling for the Bills, but I can in the parentheses is probably the reason why $120 million and for the life of his contract to go to the Bills. I think that's 4 or 5 years. But yeah, I mean, I just have a hard time. I mean, this is the league now. It's like, hey, it used to be just all about winning, and now it's about getting my money and hopefully winning. And but the Bills were close again. The Bills could have been there, should have probably been there, and maybe this kind of signing, maybe that's a lot of money. He's been around a little bit, and that's a lot of money to dump, on an edge rusher. But now, what do you think? What do you think here?
I think that Von Miller did the best he could in the situation where I don't believe the Rams were going to be able to pay him what they wanted because they had to re-sign Cooper Kupp, who had just had the best receiving year ever and Super Bowl MVP that won them the Super Bowl at the end. So you had to re-sign a big contract there. Aaron Donald money is coming into play. They had to give him a ton of money. So there was some reasons he kind of had to leave. I don't think the Rams were going to pay him as much as someone could. And so going to the Bills is really his best option. I mean, an epic AFC championship game against the Chiefs, and the Bills are in the Super Bowl, and so you add him to an already very good team. He's probably thinking, well, we'll get back there. I mean, the Chiefs don't even have Tyreek Hill anymore,
right?
We could have won it last year. The Bills could have. They're going to pay me all this money. This is probably his best scenario. He can come in as a leader. He's also a very popular player. He does, commercials. He's a good selling jersey for them, and it's on the defensive side of the ball where they already have Josh Allen and Diggs and some offensive side of the ball guys, but now they have kind of a legit Hall of Fame defensive presence that will only help everybody else on that defense as far as his experiences and he's a winner. He won with Denver. He won with the Rams now. So um, I think it's a great situation for Von Miller. Probably the best one he could be in leading the Rams.
Yeah, my only concern with this is when he went to the Rams, it created a scenario, the perfect scenario, because you have Aaron Donald and you have Von Miller on. You put them out there on the field, even if they're alternating, you're getting fresh legs and with a lot of pressure. A lot of times, if you just have one great rusher, um, when they go off the field, coaches see that, they can game plan around that, make instant calls, that kind of stuff. Um, but when you have two on the field at the same time, or if one goes off and you have another that's I'm not going to say equal caliber, but very dangerous. I think having two fantastic rushers is what any championship team needs. And so when you focus on one, it makes it a little more difficult. And I think those two together had Miller and Aaron Donald had a great, quick chemistry. The coaching, how they played them together was phenomenal. Although they did struggle in the Super Bowl until the fourth quarter. A lot of questionable stuff there, but anyway, it's like how can you keep these guys silent for 3 quarters and all of a sudden they're just going off like madmen? Unreal. But I like the guy. I like you said with the jerseys. I've always liked Von Miller. Just been a good guy. And so, what about Bobby Wagner? Leaves Seattle, headed to the Rams. I guess my 2 cents before you jump in is I think Bobby Wagner, he struggled in Seattle, and the last probably 2 years, and there's a lot of change to that team, and he was kind of the last. I don't know, say the last, but he was a big part of that team defense, and I think that defense just got a lot weaker, and it may have kind of highlighted some of his weaknesses in being able to carry it himself. That's just what I think, but still a good player. Not taking anything away from him at all. So probably going to the Rams, he's going to be a part of a good defense already, and that's probably going to help him be successful.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of went out a little salty from Seattle. He was one that kind of left and was like, yeah, I don't feel like they appreciate me as much as they could have at the end of my time here. Kind of like Vaughn, it's the best situation for him. If you're a middle linebacker, there's no one you would rather have in front of you than Aaron Donald. So wherever he is at in the end of his career or whatever, he can't be in a better situation as a middle linebacker to have the best defensive player in the league in front of you, grabbing double teams basically every snap to open up lanes for you to run through and make tackles and kind of play a bit freer than most guys in the league can, because they don't have an Aaron Donald in front of them.
Right.
And he's going to a Super Bowl champion. It all worked out good for him. He also gets to go back and probably destroy his old team twice this season. So that'll be fun for him. And he can, flip off Pete as he's walking off the field or whatever. And like some of the other ex Seattle Seahawks, once they were starting to not, win anymore. That'll be interesting to see what he has left in the tank. But there's no better situation he could go to either than going to the Rams.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is going to be a positive for him, and we'll hopefully see a little bit more of him. What he was in previous years. So next one I'm actually kind of excited about. Khalil Mack going to the Chargers. So far I'm loving the moves that the Chargers are making. They're addressing. They know that a lot of times when you have like just a crazy awesome quarterback and some receivers and a good running back, you're just thinking, oh, we got to build around it. But a lot of times the defense just doesn't get enough attention. So this is one signing that I think is, the Chargers are identifying that, hey, we know where the gaps are in our game, and we know we can score. We need to work on making sure other people don't score as much as we can. And so I think this is it was a good pickup for the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, what a handful of years ago, this guy with Aaron Donald were probably the consensus top two defensive players in the league. 5 years ago, and then Khalil Mack, he's kind of like Aaron Donald in the way of you might not see it all on the stats. So when you look at some previous years, he doesn't have huge sack totals, and that's basically because he's double teamed every play, and he gets a lot of quarterback pressure still. He ruins timing a lot, so not everything you can see he does is on the stat sheet. He's still a very dominant player, which will be great for the Chargers because they do have this, what's going to be, I believe, a very high-powered offense. Herbert's going into his third year. Everyone in training camp said everything looks very easy to him now in the offense. He's been with the same receivers, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams.
Yeah.
He has Eckler in the backfield that helps a lot. So the offense is going to be good. So they did need to make this move on defense. And if you have a healthy Joey Bosa on the other side, or if you stack them on one side, well, you can't double team both of them.
Right.
So, I mean, I could see them moving Khalil around, put him sometimes on, Joey's side, or if there's a matchup, put him on the opposite side to push the flow towards Joey or towards other players. But yeah, it's great that they have two guys on their team now that can really get to the quarterback, and that's going to help a lot in their division. I mean, you got to go against Patrick Mahomes, you got to go against David Carr, got Devontae Adams now this season to throw to with other guys, which he's one of the top receivers in the league. You got Russell in Denver, so they've upgraded their quarterback there, and they have young receivers, so you're going to need to get Russell off of his game and make him do those backside spin, rollouts, however, many times a game you can try to get him to make those magic plays. But yeah, great. I think it's a great pickup for the Chargers, and they're a team for me to watch big time. Like I would tell everyone now, like a sleeper team, don't sleep on the Chargers. They could easily win that division and make the playoffs, and like they can make a run for it this year, next year. I think they're a really up and coming team that should fight for that AFC championship with the Bills. And
yeah, and I agree with you. I'm all on board with the Chargers. Part of it is because again, I'm an Oregon Duck homer with Justin Herbert, and but he's making it happen. This kid is one of, I think, the most electric quarterbacks to come into the league in a long time. And if they put this team together like they should, this could end up being a dynasty team. And even though they're second fiddle there at SoFi in LA, this could really, maybe if they need to move or something, I mean, this could really turn into, honestly, the Chargers were a dying franchise, and without a home, and Spanos down in San Diego and all of that stuff, there's quite the revival with the Chargers, and I wouldn't have said that before Herbert came in and had a phenomenal first year. Great, followed it up with a great sophomore year. So not a lot of quarterbacks can do that. You come in, you make your splash, and then okay, we figured you out. We know what you're going to do. No, this kid is still finding the open man, dropping it in, doing what he needs to do, and so to pick up on that, and as Robert says, the AFC is going to be a battle, and I absolutely agree. Bills are. I was all on board with the Bills last year going to the Super Bowl, and as well. But there's one other thing, and this guy wasn't on your list, so I added one guy to your list because I actually did some of my own research, not as because there's no way I can keep up with your your NFL acuity of infinity of data and knowledge and stuff, but I actually did pull up a guy that's along with Khalil Mack, a pickup this year, and that's J.C. Jackson, cornerback. They picked him up from the Patriots, signed him to a great contract. I mean, he just finished his rookie contract with the Patriots and going to get 82 mil to go over. So a little bit of help in the backfield, and not the back. But just some more help. And the word that I'm looking for is not coming to my head. But no, it's a great pick. I think the Chargers with Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, they're really looking at solidifying their defense this year and to slow down some other teams, and then they'll just start. If they can do that, they'll just start blowing out teams and scaring the league. Just how strong they really are already. And I think, like you said, a year or two. I do think they need to make the playoffs this year, though. Not going to lie. If you don't make the playoffs this year with the team you have, that's going to be a struggle to continue to keep players on board with the vision. So Tyrann Mathieu heads off the Saints. This one threw me off. I was like, did he go to the Saints? Because you had like Arizona on your list or something like that, I think, with him or something. And I was like,
that's where he was at. Yeah. So he comes over
that's
from the
okay.
Saints.
And for whatever reason, I thought he was with the Chiefs.
He was originally. That's who he got drafted by. Yeah.
But so he didn't spend a lot of time. And oh man, I don't know. I'm just going to shut up. But so tell me what you think about this pickup here for the Saints.
He's a big energy guy. He's any guy that has a nickname that everybody knows, the Honey Badger. I mean, those guys are known. He's going to come in with attitude. He's a playmaker. Sometimes he takes some chances, and he's, not maybe he doesn't have maybe the young legs he used to, but he's always going to have those instincts. And so he's a good positive guy that you'd want to have on your defense because you know what he's going to bring on Sundays. He's going to bring it. He doesn't take plays off. I'm not saying he's as good as Troy Polamalu was. I don't think he is, but he's kind of that player where it's like he's going to take some chances, and sometimes it's going to pay off big, and sometimes the ball's going to get thrown over his head, and team's going to score on him. But he's that kind of player where he's on the field. He brings that leadership. He gets everyone on the team hyped up and good energy, good to go. So I think any team that would have a guy like this on their team, I think it's a positive. You need to have these kind of guys on your team.
Yeah, it's I don't have a lot to add to this. He's a good defender, and any team that's going to have him on it's going to make a difference. Is the rest of the team around him, good enough to make a run? I don't know at this point. I think that even still the quarterback, you don't have a top tier quarterback. I mean, a lot of teams though don't have a top tier quarterback, and going into this year, and they're going to have to make do. The running game should be fine, but yeah, it's I don't know that there's enough team there in New Orleans, but he found a new home. So moving on back to offense, probably one of the biggest moves until at least a few days ago. One of the biggest moves with Davante Adams leaving Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay to go to the Raiders for $141 million over the life of his contract. But I thought this was an interesting one. I actually had to look. I actually Googled why did Davante Adams leave the Packers, and he, basically everything I came was part of it was, and he said, he didn't know the future of Aaron Rodgers, of if he was going to retire, when he was going to retire, and he just wanted to be able to, have a kind of a positive feeling moving forward in how he was playing and who he's playing for. So that's what he said was a big reason into this. And so what do you think about the Derek Carr, Davante Adams combination?
I don't think it can hurt the Raiders. They get a big time playmaker that'll help open up their run game. It'll open up other receivers on the field. He has a few favorites on his team already. Hunter Renfrow, he loves to throw to him in tight spaces and around the goal line and things like that. And it's a good move. He just made all that ton of money, and he gets to go to Vegas, and he gets to play in a sweet dome, and um, he doesn't have to play. Can you imagine running routes in the snow for a 30-year games a season to
Right.
running in Las Vegas, like inside that nice new stadium? And that's, as a receiver, I always think of that because growing up, I played receiver and I played in really terrible weather a lot up in the Pacific Northwest. And guess what? It would have been real gravy playing receiver, running on a dry, nice, weathered field every game. Like, I can only imagine that's going to help him and help his numbers. But yeah, and I guess they already have good chemistry at training camp. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers maybe should have figured all this out a year ago when there was problems and said, "Hey, sign this guy or I'm done," or leaving if he wanted him. I mean, he did that for a guy that's
Cobb.
on his team now,
Yeah.
who isn't a third of the player anymore that
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Adams is. So instead of getting my buddy on the team, I might have wanted to keep one of the best wide receivers in the league on the team.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And it's funny that talking about Carr and Devontae played in college, so they know each other. They're gonna do great. So yeah, any fantasy football guys out there, Carr's gonna go up. Like, where you might have him as a backup quarterback, there might be some people taking him as a starter now just because of this move in fantasy football.
Oh, don't be giving bad information. Come on.
Well, then that leaves better quarterbacks for me. But yeah, so Robert's talking about Aaron Rodgers. It was funny. I was watching. He always comes into training camp the first day, like he makes his grand entrance, because Rodgers cares about Rodgers. And so this year, to make his teammates laugh, he came in looking like Aaron Poe, so from Con Air.
Yeah.
So he came in with his long, gristly hair and not shaved face, and wearing a A-frame white under tank and all dirty, and came in looking just like Nick Cage from Con Air. So that was pretty funny. I can respect him for that. That made me laugh, but good luck to him throwing to not Devontae Adams anymore. And, he doesn't have a whole lot to throw to there anymore. So we'll see how good Aaron Rodgers is this season more than any other season.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because, if you're not going to have another marquee receiver that's going to draw some doubles and challenge the secondary. That was the word I was looking for earlier. Gosh, damn. See, it's been the off season.
It.
I did it.
It's off season.
Yeah, I mean, if you're, I mean, the secondary is going to have an easier time. Obviously, if Randall Cobb is your marquee, I'm not taking anything away from the guy. But if that's what you got, then it's just like with the Cardinals, as soon as DeAnthony Hopkins went down last year, their season went down. And that was literally, they were the best team in the NFL for weeks. And Devontae Adams goes down, and it's the season's over because as far as your defense goes, it's easier to play and match up. So it'll be interesting with Aaron Rodgers there. But we were talking actually about Devontae Adams. So I love doing this, by the way, Robert. I got to find his comment again. A combo to these guys. I tell you what, I do this every year in fantasy. And last year I had Kyler and DeAnthony Hopkins, and that was just bank for me for a while. And then as soon as DeAnthony went down, I had to basically play Tom Brady. So not that was a horrible thing, but I love combo guys, and especially in fantasy. So I will do it again this year. Just don't know who that's going to be yet. And so and before we move on, Kim says my Chargers are looking pretty good this coming season. As we shared, Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson. Robert said he questioned. I got to go back up to this one. The $82 million. That's a lot of money, but the guys actually, I went back and looked, and the Pro Football Focus on this guy is actually quite high. He was ranked, I think they got him at 82 or 84%, 8 interceptions. So, I mean, the guy can play. Is he 80, I guess he got $10 million for each of his 8 interceptions. So, but yeah, that is a lot of money, and they're banking on him being a top tier cornerback. So, all right, so we got to move on down. So okay, so AJ Brown to the Eagles. Is anything really gonna? I'm not 100% sold on their quarterback. I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on the Eagles, but how does this help the Eagles?
Yeah,
Break through.
I don't know if it helps him break through, but he'll definitely be a help to Jalen Hurts because of the type of receiver he is. He's a big physical receiver. So, I mean, you can run him on 7-yard in routes. You can run him on curl routes. You can, run him on slants and let him, break a tackle or, take a little punishment or whatever. He's a good receiver, especially for what they already have. So they have Devontae Smith, who's a young receiver, who's more of a burner. He's going to be the guy that, gets downfield. So AJ's going to be that make the tough catches over the middle. It's 3rd down and 5. He's going to get you the first down, has a big catch range. So it will help them for sure. They needed this kind of receiver since they already kind of had the smaller speedster guys. They didn't have a bigger guy who's going to be able to get those, shorter first down, tougher catch type balls. So I think that will help Jalen a lot in that part of the game.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to that. I just don't know really what kind of team is going to show up this year. And Jalen Hurts, I think he can be a good quarterback. I just think he may be a better quarterback somewhere else someday. That's my 2 cents on that. So the most recent signing is Julio Jones showing up at the Bucs, and I think this is to me. Oh yeah, I mean Julio Jones can catch anything. I mean this guy's got hands like no other, and I think Tom Brady probably when they found out that this signing was going to happen, he probably saw another Super Bowl trophy in his future. I mean, this year, whether that happens or not, there's again a lot of good teams out there, but I think probably to me one of the key signings and for Brady to win another championship.
I mean, the rich get richer. I mean, I would say this, that if you want to identify who the GOAT is, when you're in your 40s and you're still winning Super Bowls and everyone still wants to come play with you because they feel like you have the magic that you're not going to lose. You're not going to be on a losing team. You're always going to be near the top, if not the top. So Julio comes over, didn't have a great year with, surprise to you, Tannehill at Tennessee for like the year he was there. Plus he was coming back off an injury the first, and so it's like you're getting Julio Jones, who is a future Hall of Fame wide receiver, as your number 3 wide receiver. Because you already have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, who are your top 2 receivers. Now you get a long in the tooth Julio Jones, who, guess what? For one season, do you think he's not going to play his ass off as hard as he can with the greatest quarterback to ever play to try to win a Super Bowl? And that's what a lot of players are doing. I mean, guys are coming over. Kyle Rudolph, I thought he was going to retire, and Gronk retired, so Kyle Rudolph, backup tight end, still can catch the ball, veteran, very smart. You slide him in there, and now you've got to be aware of him on the field, and you got to be aware of Godwin, Evans, and Julio Jones on the field. Like, that's going to open up everything. Fournette runs hard. Brady can hand it to him because, he's going to have 3 amazing receivers on the field at the same time. It just opens everything up even more and more and more for Tom Brady. just kind of pick and choose whatever he wants to do. And they're going to have mismatches all over the place. I mean, you got Julio, Godwin, and Evans. Julio and Evans can catch the ball anywhere on the field. They're big. They can get the short passes. They also can run and make spectacular catches. Chris Godwin gets deep. Yeah, the rich just kind of get richer. I mean, who wouldn't want to go play with Tom Brady, especially if you're near the end of your career, but you feel like you still have something in the tank? I mean, it's amazing. That's that lineup, those three receivers, and they have Gage. They came over from Atlanta. I mean, you run 4 receiver set with Fournette or whoever you want. You put us in the backfield. You know, they're not going to be able to do anything if you put those 4 guys at receiver on the field and the linemen. Like, the threat's going to be passed, so the running lanes are going to be open too. So, I mean, and that Tampa Bay, the Saints, the Falcons, you know, the Panthers are terrible. They're just going to run that division again. I see them winning 12 games easy, probably sweeping their division unless the Saints get lucky and find them on a bad day. I see them winning 6 division games pretty easily. And I don't know. I'm all for it. Like, I'm not a Bucks fan, and I never was a Brady fan. But as I get older and you start rooting for guys your age in the league, especially now that he switched teams, and I could see, like, oh, it's him. Like, it wasn't just like the Patriots. It wasn't the system. It wasn't, you know, Bill. No, he's the best. He's the best. He went 1 year, COVID, bunch of limitations, didn't have any chemistry with the team, and they went and they won a Super Bowl because he's one of those guys where it's funny every year on fantasy. If he's available as like my second quarterback, taking a backup quarterback early, if he's not my first quarterback, I put him on my team because don't you want the greatest of all time just on your team? I just put him on there. Yeah, I just put him on there because it's like, why wouldn't you take the greatest player to ever play? Doesn't make, like, some guys are winners. They just are. Yeah. And he's the prime example of he's an all-time great winner. He's not going to fail. He's just one of those guys.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to Robert's post here, comment here, and it really got me thinking this is probably one of the best receiving cores in the NFL this year. I mean, just consistent. We're not saying marquee. I mean, the Rams probably have had the best receiving core, going in the playoffs last year. But it's not, you got Woods is no longer there. So yeah, I mean, this is probably, I mean, if I'm Tom Brady and I'm thinking, shit, I got these 4 guys to throw to. And if I have those, and as a defense, or, you're thinking they have these 3-4 guys to throw to, that's just going to open up the running game. And, you're not going to be able to really keep guys down as much to fill those gaps. And so I think the run game will really set up a lot of stuff for them this year. And that's really always who they've been. But I think it's going to get a little bit easier this year. All right, so where are we at? So now that I'm here in Arizona, this Marquise Brown, who I've always had on my fantasy also each year because nobody else wants to pick him up, and has helped me out quite a bit. So I'm going to have this guy, and really he steps in and takes that role of, not that role, the position of Charlie Kirk. Is it Charlie Kirk? No.
Christian Kirk.
Sorry. There's somebody I follow named Charlie Kirk. So, but Christian Kirk, Christian got a lot of money to leave. Good on him. I was so disappointed in Kirk last year when Hopkins went down. He was the guy that was expected, not AJ Green, who's 98 years old. But Christian Kirk was the guy that should have stepped in and filled that role, and he did not. And I found out this guy's not a route runner. He's not a fighter. I was very disappointed in Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk's play after Hopkins went down, and So this is a fantastic pickup. Some good hands, route runner, and with Kyler Murray getting his super contract, uh, you know, hopefully he can keep it going here in Arizona. I've going to be seeing 5 games this year. I bought a buddy's part of their half of their season tickets, so I'm going to see. Got one game coming up here in a couple weeks, preseason game. I think it's against the Ravens, and then
That's his
4
old
regular
team.
season games. Yeah, yeah. So, and he probably won't be playing. So, but still, they're home games, and it's all about tailgating at that point. So, it'll be a good time. But yeah. So, any thoughts on this?
Hollywood Brown. It's a good thing that he came over since Hopkins is out suspended the first half of the year. So they needed a receiver. So it was a very smart pickup. He's a guy that can kind of make you sleep. He's not a very big guy, but he gets deep. He gets behind the defense. He's one of those guys that can do a 15, 20-yard route and then kind of make you sleep for a second and turn and burn you, get behind you. So he's a big play guy, which works really well because Kyler Murray, I think, throws the ball better than Lamar Jackson does. But they're similar where they can both scramble around and make time so that he can break off his original route and then find space to get open deep. So I think that will be good. It'll be a similar thing for Marquise there, having a running, mobile quarterback who can buy time and let him get enough time to get open. But yeah, and then I'll have to drive over for maybe a couple games this year or something. Especially save that if you get that Niner game, you've got to let me know.
I don't think
get
I
the
got the
Niner
Niner
one?
game. No,
Oh, well, if you got the Seahawks one, let me know, and I'll bring Whitney over, and
we'll figure it out.
she can go in, and I'll stay in the parking lot tailgate.
So we only got a couple players left before we end the show. The last on offense here, or the position players, Tyreek Hill. That's a big loss to the Chiefs, which I was shocked they'd let this guy go. And obviously a big pickup to the Dolphins. But it's questionable. I mean, it depends on who you listen to. It's questionable that what kind of impact he'll have based on the type of quarterback they have. And some say Tua can't throw the deep ball. This guy's fat. I mean, can he get it out there? You're not playing. I don't think you're playing quarterback in the NFL if you can't throw the deep ball or get rid of it quick. I mean, get it downfield. I don't think you'll be in the NFL if you can't do that. So, do you think this is a big pick? I mean, big help to an impact to the Dolphins?
Oh yeah, I mean this is a kind of move that they made that. I mean, everyone's down on Tua. Basically, the coach, too, his job is going to come down to how well Tua plays. I mean, everyone's tied to this kid right now at the Dolphins organization. And so for you to give him maybe the fastest receiver in the league, probably is the fastest receiver in the league. And that's just something you can't teach. You can't teach I'm faster than everybody else. That's a benefit to anybody because, yeah, like you said, I mean, he threw in training camp to him this week. He was throwing him 65-yard bombs and stuff. I mean, you're absolutely right. You're not going to be a quarterback in the NFL if you can't throw the ball 60 yards in the air. I mean, some of these older guys that have been in the league forever, they don't have to do that anymore because they know the offense so well and they know defenses so well that you look at a lot of the quarterbacks that are older. I mean, they're throwing 8-yard passes, 7-yard passes, all these little quick slants and screen passes and all this. They don't have to go deep a lot. They carry 4 or 5 bombs in their pocket and their arm a game, maybe. This kid's young. He's going to be able to throw the ball deep. And you don't have to wait till the guy's 65 yards down to throw it. I mean, this guy gets off the line and is by you, 15 yards down the field. You release the ball then down the sideline. The safety, that's the thing with speed down the sideline too, is how far over does that safety have to cheat? and then that opens up the middle for
Sure.
post routes and everything else, because he's so fast that he can get by your corner down the sideline so quick that your safety has to cheat over, because you can't get to a guy that fast if you're playing normal in the middle of the field up the hash marks positioning. And then you start doing that, and then you start throwing him slants when everyone, you got corners starting 17 yards away from him because they're worried about getting burnt.
Sure.
And now Tua's throwing a slant, and guess what? This guy's still fast with the ball in his hand in 5 yards. So, yeah, it can't hurt, because, like I said, you can't teach his type of speed. He's a blazer, so he's a big play guy. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to make all the difference to Tua. It'll just be interesting to see how teams double team Tyreek Hill, because that's about all they got still. It's not like they have a ton of other weapons
Options.
for him to throw to. I mean, they have a decent tight end. Their running game, they don't know. They have new running backs kind of in there, so that's going to be kind of some new things going on. But yeah, the speed that this dude has, it's any quarterback's dream, because you can give him the ball anywhere, or try to get him the ball anywhere on the field.
Yeah. So our last player that we're talking about today, we want to give a little bit of love to the guys down in the trenches, fighting it out. I don't really even know who this guy is, to be honest. So I'm gonna let you talk about this signing and this move to the Bengals for La'el Collins.
Yeah, so he was a tackle at the Cowboys, and the Bengals, despite having basically the worst offensive line in the league, almost made it to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, Burrows is injured again this offseason, where he's gonna have to do some treatment and get better before the start of the season. I don't know if he'll start the season, if he'll be healthy enough to start the season. But this is why the Bengals need guys like this. So Collins was like the 5th ranked right tackle in the league last year. So that's an upgrade to what they have. And when you got Joe Burrow's already hurt, young in his career, but still being gutty, getting a Bengals team that, oh my gosh, can you imagine any Cincinnati homer that bet last year that the Bengals were going to make the Super Bowl? And I'm sure there were. I'm sure there's fans from every team every year that say, put 200. Oh, we're 20,000 to 1 to make the Super Bowl. I'm betting 200. I don't care. Like, all those people raked in the money last year because nobody had the Bengals. Young quarterback coming back from injury, coaching staff that's kind of newish to the Bengals. Like, no one was picking the Bengals to make the Super Bowl last year. So now, to me, this is a smart sign that they've seen what they can do, and they're trying to now bring in pieces here and there to help and get even better, especially their weaknesses, which this was their biggest weakness. I mean, your franchise young quarterback keeps getting hurt because you're not blocking.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough road for the Bengals this year to repeat. I think there's a lot of teams that are.
I don't see a repeat.
No, I'm with you. But obviously, shoring up that offensive line will be a benefit, and so we'll see how far they can go. But they had their Cinderella year, and it's going to be tough to get back there again for them. Hey, with that, we had a great viewership today, interaction. Thank you everyone for our faithful fans, Robert and Kim and Jim and Cindy and Whitney for watching. There's a couple of new people I saw that liked us. So thanks for joining us, everyone. Again, you can watch it on Facebook, YouTube, and now Twitter Live. And on Twitter, so this is how you can watch us. Like and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, at Sports and Drafts, and now on Twitter at NFL_beer. We were trying to change. I was trying to change the name on Facebook, and Facebook would not let us change the name of Sports and Drafts. Unless we create a whole new page, which means we have to get all of you over to that page. Unless we do that, we're going to have to be Sports and Drafts, but it can still be the Football Beer. That's why we're here show, and as a part of that. So we'll all figure it out. But hey, what a great show. to kind of get us back into the season, kick off all the cobwebs, Dave, and so next week we'll continue joining. So we got the Hall of Fame game is Thursday, and so we'll be back on next Sunday, and we'll tackle some other topics. Maybe look at some quarterback challenges this spring season. Spring season, preseason, and what teams have quarterbacks that are trying to win the starting position. We'll take a look at this, the continued signings and cuts, and as we get through work weeks, especially get into weeks 3 and 4 of the preseason. Who are some of the people that are going to get cut, maybe kept on the practice squad, and those kind of things. So we'll be bringing you a bunch of great focus topics, and but thanks for joining us, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Any last words, Dave?
Yeah, just look forward to the season. Please go and put in the comments how you like this new date and time as a Sunday pregame show. We thought that it would be better than trying to get everyone to watch during dinner time, midweek, and things like that. And we can help you get going at the start of your morning, right before the games. As the season comes in, we'll be making our picks again, so they'll be fresh right before the games. I know I'm going to try to pop in too, just randomly live or posting things on all of the social media sites during the day on Sunday. So maybe, after the morning games, after the afternoon game, maybe even wrap up at night after the night game on Sunday, check in maybe Monday. So it's going to be a lot more active. There's going to be a lot more activity, places you can go to see the show or make comments or interact with us, which is really ultimately what we want, is a lot of viewership interaction. So yeah, just stoked for this season, and look to enjoying my mornings with you guys before the games.
Yeah, and I just want to, before we leave, thanks to my limited visibility AZ IPA from Mother Road Brewing, and I put a link to their Twitter on our Twitter feed, so you can go and check them out and check out their brews.
Sweet.
All right, everyone, have a fantastic week. We'll see you all next Sunday. Take care. Bye now.